As we open this Congress Day, it is my honor to introduce Professor Gejza Timcak, distinguished academic, President of the Slovak Yoga Association, honorary member of the European Union of Yoga, and internationally recognized scholar and teacher who has devoted decades to advancing the practice and science of yoga. Please welcome, the floor is yours.
Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, being the first, I hope you are already awakened to the day which is ahead of us. And I had the privilege to present you something which was presented in various contexts, but not actually alone, because, you know, it is a difference whether you take yoga as a side auxiliary help for people of oncological problems and so on, or you have to adapt yourself to a regular practice in a hope for a better life. Why? Because like in every system, the aim is that you end up in a better position, and better position means that your life would be more energetic, your energies will flow in the right direction so that you do not create yourself more trouble than happiness. And so, since 1975, we have an organization which is, in fact, a local organization. You know, Slovakia used to be a part of Czechoslovakia. Czechoslovakia used to be a part of the monarchy. And so, we are all, in a way, members of a bigger community, but this organization is a local one, and we cater mainly for the local people. When I say cater, that means we are serving them. And when we look at the portfolio, then this number of people may look, in comparison with the others, who within a couple of weeks reach 80,000 people. But these are the people who are attending year-long courses, intensive one-week-long courses, so they are able to shape their life seemingly seamlessly. But we will see what are the obstacles. So when we saw that it is not so easy for a European person to align to a culture and technique which is originating in India, which is relatively far, even though it has been mentioned that we are supposed to be Indo-Europeans, but India is still a little bit far apart. So then, when we have been during a very hot period of the climate in India with a colleague of mine, Ivo Sedlacek, in an ashram, and it was impossible to do anything because it was so hot, so we were just lying, and then we came into an idea, because he is a musician, that, well, if we would be able to offer something which combines live music, not from the notes, but from inspiration, then perhaps it would be easier for the people to keep to the actual essence of yoga, because the music takes away many of your thinking processes. So this is how, in the ashram of Mahasiddhartha, we came upon this idea, and it is something which I will touch later on. So this is one of the aims, how to reach this state, the basic state of satisfaction, which is santosh, and how to come to something which we call ananda, and it's a nice word, but it's very difficult really to merge into this state. Now, you see, this is a typical setup. This is a summer course where you have all age represented, from kids, they have special program, to elderly. This is Ivo Sedlacek here on the left. He doesn't like being photographed, he always shies away. Now, when we have discovered this possibility, then through the European Union of Yoga, it became evident that there is quite a need for such a teaching, which doesn't really get lost in the theory, but supports the process through really very inspiring music. And the mentioned Ivo Sedlacek is really a lucky person, because his son doesn't go away from him, but they play music together. So we publish a lot of works, and you see this is again an old black and white remembering of a yoga course. This is a newer one. It's always at a place where we are away from the main line of civilization. And so when we analyzed why is it that so many people who came to the courses are still having problem of regular practice, and they cannot really well integrate. Yes? No, tak tu už je priepasť, ale môžem to skúsiť. So, even though we know that yoga is known since the times of Alexander the Great, he was the first known importer of yoga, even though some people, they say it comes even earlier. Then we had Ibn Battuta, who was an Arabic traveler, who actually said that in India, two types of people are really honored. One is the physicians, the Ayurvedic people, and the yogis. So then comes the Jesuits. In the 14th and 15th century, they brought all the information about yoga, but unfortunately, at that time, the atmosphere, the cultural atmosphere, was not really conducive to that. And then, in the 19th century and the early 20th century, a new infusion came. So you perhaps know that there was this World Conference on Religions in the United States, and people like Swami Vivekananda, who was a disciple of Ramakrishna. So they started a new wave of what they hoped would be an understanding what yoga stands for, what Indian philosophy stands for, how it can help to have a fruitful life. Now, this is Vivekananda. Not everyone knows that he was also a Freemason. Yeah. So, what are the programs? You know, if you listen to the various presentations of the Ayurvedic physicians and researchers, you will see some of that. So, Shatkarmas, which means it seems to be just a cleansing process, but basically it cleans the system of energy. That means, for example, Granta Samhita, so Rishi Garanta is telling about the importance of the Shatkarmas, not only by enumerating that, but he says that unless your system is purified enough, your mind cannot be calmed and cannot be really made to just rest, because there are so many discordant information in your system that they always pop up and keep you thinking, doing, forgetting. You know, so many people say, I try to meditate, but when I sit down to meditate, suddenly there is thought comes. Oh, I forgot this. Oh, I forgot to call that person. Oh, yes, I shouldn't forget this. So meditation is, in fact, a sort of remembering of what we hadn't done or what we should do. That means that's not a meditation. So it is just a type of planning of the day. So the asanas help to stabilize. Then relaxation, yoga nidra, and yoga nidra again helps. But, you know, yoga nidra and relaxation is liked very much because you just lie down and the teacher is working. You just lie down. If you have to do it yourself, so you have to remember, first of all, it's not a complete relaxation, but it's so easier when we are in a group, practice in a group, because we have the atmosphere, yes. But if you do it once a week, it's nice, but doesn't really work 100%. So The Savita Yoga, I will return to that, but our aim was to really do not dilute the program, because there are some tendencies that we dilute the yoga program, and therefore it's easier to accept. Yes, but then if you dilute it, I wouldn't say that homeopathy would not work in this case. So if you do just practices in a homeopathic way, that for example, in the morning you wake up and for 1 second you remember, yes, I should practice, but then you go on. In this case, you have really to be allopathic to the sense that you have to do the practices. So meditation, already mentioned, and workshops where you learn also the background. So what is the framework within which I can have a successful yoga practice? So this is with the violin, it is the father, and the handpan is his son. So this is actually a style which, if you would experience, you would know how difficult it is to describe it. So I just say that this is a music which is actually being formed on the spot. And he wanted to have some colleague musicians to accompany him. And said, okay, where are the notes? There are no notes. Okay, I can't do that. So this is the difficulty of it. You have to have inspiration. And he, of course, he is also doing yoga. So what to do? So first of all, whether it is yoga or not, you have to frame your lifestyle into some form which is conducive to one thing, that you do not take more burden on you, but you start unburdening you. What do you mean? You know yourself, how many times it happened to you that you know that you should do this or that, but suddenly realize, no, not this time, not today, tomorrow. And so this is something which holds us back. And it holds us back because we have a lot of burden in our mind which prefers other activities than the ones which would be unburden our system. So the Bhagavad Gita is also telling that unless our internal information system doesn't allow us to understand what it is about and be in agreement with it, we will not be able to do it, and we will be pressed to do things to which our mind and the internal structure and databases are forcing us to do. So how to ease that? Well, again, effort. But the effort is the better end of it, that we start with these recommendations. But they are not easy. Just try to imagine ahimsa, not hurting anyone. But can you do it? Can you foresee that if I tell someone something, how the person will react to it? You know, if you have a kid and you say, oh, I do not want to discipline it, well, life will discipline him or her. Then you see that he has a problem of adaptation because he didn't learn certain things which only the parent can actually teach in an early age. So harming and not harming is a great question. Or satya, tell the truth. Okay, but the truth can be a sword. It can hurt the person. So how to do it in such a way that it actually helps the person to transform? So they are not easy concepts. And so there is a lot of obstacles mentioned, and these obstacles are the same in all culture. So Ponticus Evagrius was a Christian monk who actually was speaking about this, that these are the gluttony, lust, greed, and so on, and so on. But if you are gloomy, it may be worse than if you do something which is actually incorrect, because you keep up your mind in a state which is non-conductive to positive actions. So Svadhyaya, Gabor Peck was yesterday speaking about it in his presentation, so I will not deal with that. But when we say that, what is santosha? So you may know that one of the lead authorities of the classical yoga is Patanjali. And when he speaks about santosha, which means a sort of inner peace, joy, and preparedness to act from the position of harmony, whatever it may mean at the given point, then you are in a very nice, exalted position. But didn't it happen to you that you wake up, you're fine, suddenly you meet someone who is just pushing you or doesn't do what you would like to do, and all your santosha is gone. You think, oh, this is an unkind person. So how to manage it? Well, there are two ways. One way is, again, Ponticus Evagrius says, well, if I'm satisfied with what I already have, all my wishes are satisfied. But it's difficult, because what do I have? Is it enough? You know, if you visited Temu Comp and you will see what you can buy, suddenly you see, oh, I need this, I need this, I need that. These are the real issues of life. So we can read very inspiring lines, but how really to implement it in our life, this is really a big question. And so, even though the yama and niyama are very important, but even understanding what does it mean in my real life, when do I hurt someone, or when I do, which is my real need, or when I am actually accumulating things at home which are not important, it may seem, well, perhaps this is not the goal of yoga. No, it is just cleaning the ground so that actually one is prepared for being willing to enter a little bit more intense covering of the challenges of life. Now, what is the challenge of life? You know, we have been hearing that patients lose motivations. Because if you know you are an oncological patient, the physician tells you, oh, 3 weeks, maybe 1 month, yes, then can you be optimistic? How many people say, no problem, just let me go, and I will come back. New body, new possibility. No, this doesn't usually help. Even people who say, yes, I will pass away without problem, when it comes through, oh, I didn't do that, I missed that. So the attachment is always there. How to deal with that? Is it legal, illegal? Of course, it is human. So only if we have an inner secure base on which you can be sure that whatever life brings, you do whatever you best can, and then you have to accept the consequences. And if you do it, then you are internally satisfied to the degree that, okay, it may happen that all the things which are happening to me have a deeper meaning, and I have to deal with them in the sense that I seek what actually it means for my life and actually path of life. But again, one of the key issues in yoga is meditation. Why? Because the meditation, first of all, cleans all the databases and their activities which flood our attention and bring it before us. So this is a graph which was published first in 1972 by Tomito Hirai, who was doing a very extensive research on Zen meditators. So if you are going deep enough in meditation, but you're not well trained, you fall asleep. Is it good or bad? Well, it's good, but because if you cannot fall asleep, it's not good. But actually, if you are a trained meditator, then you can actually stay awake, that means conscious, even when the state of mind, using the EEG terminology, a delta dominant state is there. Delta is a very slow, 0.1 up to 4 hertz. So if you try, you see, it's not possible without proper training. And if you are there, there is one more mystery, which yoga tells you, that, yoga describes the human structured in a way that they speak about koshas. And these koshas are, one of them, the last one, is the Anandamaya kosha. You say, oh, Ananda, that's what I want. Yes, but it's not so easy. But we don't have the time to deal with that. But one thing is very important, that during your sleepless sleep, so dreamless sleep, that means that you have no dream. If you are waken up, you don't know where you are, who you are, why are you there. This is the state when the Anandamaya kosha suddenly opens up a gate, so to say, and you are immersed in this Ananda. And that means not only Ananda, but also a different state of being. But the moment you wake up, you don't know about it. So the mystery of yoga, how to make it conscious. And this is the key. So the next question is, okay, who is the one who actually experiences everything? You know, I see you, you see me, and we feel that's okay. This is how it should be. But there is a concept which is called ahamkara. Sometimes, not very fortunately, they translate it ego. But ego is already a qualifying expression. Big ego, small ego, aggressive ego, and so on. But the ahamkara means this is the perception that you are. Aham, I am. Where to find it? Well, every one of us, it carries. Otherwise, life would have no meaning. And this is what Gabor was about, that the AI cannot have a consciousness which actually works on this vertical way. So, the Kammakala Vilasa, which is an old text, says actually on the absolute level, this ahamkara is a universal process. From age to the last sound of the Sanskrit ABC is included. So the moment the actual universe starts appearing from A to Z, that's the universal ahamkara. Without it, there is nothing to see, because there is nothing manifested. So, what is the actual state of mind, or state of being, to be more accurate, which we seek during yoga? And why do we do that? You see, there is a concept which is on a slide after. It is called the Ritambhara. It is mentioned by Patanjali, again in Patanjali Yoga Sutras, but many times people do not pay much attention to it. Why? Because, okay, Rita is to write the order and so on, so something like that. But Ritambhara is something which sometimes you feel the flow, but the flow of a different type, which means that if you switch off by yoga practice, meditation, sometimes happen just spontaneously, you switch off all these functions which bring to you your thoughts, memories, traumas, happinesses, whatever, then suddenly what comes through you is this information about the fullness of life. That means how life should look like. Then it's not you who is actually following this decision-making process. I do this or I don't do this. First of all, who is this I? You know, once Michael James, he was an interpreter of the teachings of Ramana Maharshi, and once he was asked a question, you are explaining the teachings of Ramana Maharshi so nicely. So, did you actually realize the aim? And he started just, and then said, no, I still see people as persons. So this is it. So the moment the Ritambhara is providing you, thank you, with all the information you need, then it's not you. So if you say, I'm self-realized, no way. Because you still have this ahamkara. So, yeah. This is the graph which tells you that either you perform, underperform, or overperform. And if you do not follow this line in this reddish zone, that means you actually create sources of next activities, and that means you have to again come back and deal with the results of your actions. So I think the just reminder that I have to bring this to a close. What I can say is that even though not everyone is able to really understand why is it so important, it is a path which is worth trying. And if people would see that in some way you are able to manage the life situation in a better way, then we will try to imitate you as the first and then understand what you mean. And this is what I can wish to you also, that if you have the inner feeling, and if you are here and listening to this presentation, I assume that it is there somewhere, then yes, we have to invest in it time and will and energy, but the result is sure to come sooner or later. Thank you very much for your attention. Which one? This one? Or?
One more. One more.
Oh, good. Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Timcak, for your insightful lecture.